Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Cooking with Fire. Prevention Officer Michael Atkins with me, Fire Prevention Officer Michael Atkins. This is a very special episode of Cooking with Fire Prevention Officer Michael Atkins because this is Fire Prevention Week and this year's theme is Cooking Safety Starts With You. Pay attention to fire prevention. Man, if there's one thing that the fire service is really good at, it's making rhymes about fire safety. Anyway, if you turned into our first episode where I made Big Mike Pizza, you probably noticed that since that time I have grown this majestically glorious mustache. And I think that before we move any further in this episode, we need to take a moment to appreciate just how fantastic this mustache is. Now that that's out of the way, let's get started on this week's episode. About a week ago, I was walking down one of the aisles in a local big box store, and I thought to myself, Self, I wonder if we could make hamburgers with Doritos. One Google search later, I found out that that is actually a thing, and today's episode was created in my mind. Now, have I ever made homemade Dorito burgers? No. Have I ever made any homemade burgers? Also no. But am I a culinary genius that's capable of learning these things on the fly and working magic in the kitchen? Shockingly, also no. But we're going to give this a shot anyway, so let's figure out how to make homemade jalapeno Dorito burgers together, shall we? Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is gather the ingredients. The recipe that I found online was for Dorito burgers, but I decided to spice things up, and I'm going to make jalapeno Dorito burgers. So I've got jalapeno and cheddar Doritos, jalapenos for on top. There's extra virgin olive oil, some salt, some pepper, some cayenne pepper, 1 pound of lean ground beef. I've got some jalapeno cheddar block cheese that I'm going to be cutting up to put inside the burger. What? That's right, inside the burger. And then some Monterey Jack jalapeno cheese to put on top with the jalapenos and a little bacon. Because why? Because bacon's awesome. That's why. All right, let's get started. I'm not a monster. I know that you can't just serve burgers as the entire meal. You also have to have a side dish. So I'm also going to be teaching you how to make French fries. Homemade French fries, you say? Heck no. McCain Super Fries, extra crispy, spicy. Why? Because they're my favorite kind. Now, in order to make these French fries, you need to preheat the oven to about 425 degrees. But before you do that, as I said last episode, you need to have a look inside and make sure that there's nothing combustible inside the oven. I have been to a ridiculous number of fires that were started because people put combustible items in their oven because they were using the oven as extra storage space. Things like Tupperware or pizza boxes, anything that can catch on fire shouldn't be put in the oven. I don't know why I have to say this, but evidently I do. I'm probably doing this completely out of order. That's okay, I don't care. While the oven is preheating for the French fries, I'm going to cook the bacon. Now, as we discussed before, whenever you're using the stove top or you're making anything like bacon, you want to make sure that you have a lid nearby, a close fitting lid that you can place on the pot or pan in the event of a fire, and then turn off the stove, and that effectively smothers the fire and removes the heat source, puts the fire out. Do not try to carry the pot or pan outside. There's a very good chance that you're going to spill it, you're going to burn yourself, you're going to start a fire. Just put the lid on the pot or pan, turn off the stove. And again, never, ever, ever put water on a grease fire. Another thing you're going to make sure you're doing when you are using the stove is you want to make sure that pots and pans, their handles are turned inward so that they're not easily bumped and knocked over. And we want to make sure that with stoves in general, you want to try to keep a minimum 3-foot kid-free zone around the fire, around the stove at all times. That way the little ones don't get burned. You know, they're coming over to investigate what's being cooked. We don't want them accidentally spilling anything on themselves or reaching up, touching anything hot. So again, try to keep a minimum 3-foot kid-free zone around the stove at all times. While the bacon continues to cook, I'm just going to touch on a few other fire safety messages that you need to be aware of when you're cooking. First of all, when you're using the stove, as I mentioned in the last video, you want to make sure that you don't have any loose-fitting clothing. No shirts with, you know, sleeves that are hanging down, or loose blouses that are going to be hanging down and could potentially touch the heat source and catch on fire. The other thing you want to be aware of is the fact that one of the leading causes of home fires is careless cooking. And the big part of that is people not paying attention while they cook. I don't care how you remember it. Look while you cook. Stand by your pan. Watch what you heat. They're all little catchy phrases. They all mean the same thing. Be present, be aware while you're using the stove. Another thing that you need to keep in mind is that cooking and alcohol do not mix. You can burn a lot more than your food if you're cooking while under the influence of drugs or alcohol. So you want to make sure that if you're going to be using the stove, do it while you're sober, do it while you're capable of doing it responsibly. So my bacon's all done. I've got it to a nice level of crispy. Chef's kiss. First thing I'm going to do, turn off the stove. That's a big one. A lot of people forget to turn off the stove when they're done using it, and that starts fires. So I'm back. I just got back from the store. I had to go and buy some extra ingredients because I shot an entire segment of this video without the microphone turned on. So yay me. We're gonna have to do that again. That's okay. I did forget a couple of ingredients when I listed the ingredients originally. We do also need some yellow mustard and an egg just to make things a little bit... Oh, I think I broke the egg. Okay, so I've already put some of the ingredients in the bowl here. What this recipe calls for is, just let me get this, 1 teaspoon of mustard, 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt, or about half that if you're using table salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and then of course the Doritos that are going to be all crushed up and put into the mix. I'm making jalapeno burgers, so I've got the jalapeno cheddar Doritos. Now I just made this a few minutes ago when I forgot to turn on the microphone, and I discovered that using a rolling pin to crush the Doritos did not work as well as I thought it would. So I'm just doing it the easy way. I'm just rage. That's the rage of doing the video without the sound on. And just gonna make these Doritos as crushed up as possible. Then dump them in with the other ingredients. And the first time I did this, I tried using this, little spatula, mix it all up. Oh yeah, this is how we mix up the food. Yeah, no, that didn't work. So again, just doing the hands-on method, and that's just getting those Doritos all mixed up real good. Oh no, oh no. I had all the ingredients in there, and I forgot about the egg. So I got to put the egg in there like that. I saw that on the internet. That actually worked. I think it worked. There might be a little bit of eggshell in there. That's okay. It'll just mix in with the Doritos for the crunchiness, and straight back in. Oh, that's gross. That is a little gross, but that's okay. Just mixing it all up now, and in a moment I'll have the burgers and I'll show you what those look like. Okay, so I've got the meat and other ingredients and the Doritos all mixed together here. I've flattened it out in the bowl, and the video that I watched actually said that you can just use your fingers to kind of divide the meat into 4 quadrants. And now you know the size of your burgers here. You got, that should be about a 1/4 pound burger. And I'm just gonna squish it together, make a nice round burger. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, that looks so nice. I'm so good at this. And so here we got our burger, and I'm gonna push a little hole in the middle, not all the way through, but kind of make a good dent in it. And in there, I'm gonna put some cubes of jalapeno cheese. What? Yeah, I'm putting the cheese in the burger, so when we cook it, it melts. Cheesy, melty jalapeno cheese. Oh, burger. Delicious? Yes. All right, so I got the jalapeno cheddar cheese right now. I'm just cutting it into small cubes. And then the cubes will go into the middle of the burgers. And, oh, yeah. Yeah. Cheese, please. All right, and then we'll just squish the burger around the cheese, and then it's ready to cook. All right, so I got the burgers all done up with the cheese on the inside, ready to go. I'm actually gonna take those to the fire hall and barbecue them there, and then share them with whoever's there that wants to try them. I've got some Monterey Jack jalapeno cheese I'll put on top, some jalapenos to put in with it. I got the bacon already cooked, bacon, delicious. And then I got brioche buns because we fancy like. But what I wanted to mention before I go and do that was that originally my plan was to make these burgers with grilled cheese sandwiches as buns. Put a grilled cheese sandwich on the bottom, the burgers, the toppings, another grilled cheese sandwich on top. It's gonna be fantastic, gonna be incredible. I just wasn't sure if it was gonna be too much awesome in one meal. So I changed plans and decided to go with this. But when I was working with the idea of making grilled cheese sandwiches for buns for a hamburger, the plan was to actually make the grilled cheese sandwiches in an air fryer. Now, one of our viewers from the previous video, from the Big Mike Pizza video, who shall remain nameless, but whose initials are Miranda, had this fantastic idea about doing a fire safety related cooking something or other with air fryers. So I want to still use that. I'm not going to use the air fryer. But I know that many of you do use air fryers. So I just want to make sure you realize that air fryers do draw a lot of electricity. You want to make sure that they're plugged into their own outlet. They should not be plugged into an extension cord. They should not be plugged into power bars with other high drawing appliances. Plug them into their own outlet. And the other thing that unfortunately we see a lot of is air fryers being used right close to the stove. Most air fryers are plastic or made of some sort of combustible material. You don't want that put too close to the flames from your stove. It can actually cause a fire. I have seen it happen. So please, when you're using your air fryers, even though they are a fairly safe method of cooking, be cautious and make sure you're following the manufacturer's instructions and being safe with the product itself. All right, let's take these burgers to the fire hall and cook them up. Now, I should also mention that because of my little mistake with the audio, I had to run to the store. I did turn off the oven when I went, so it was no longer preheating, so it turns out that I am a monster and I'm not gonna be making the French fries. I am, however, right now just cooking up a little bit of extra bacon because I'm gonna have extra burgers to share with the firefighters when I get there. But just wanted to let you know that I did not forget to turn off the oven when I was going to be leaving the kitchen to go to the store. All right, so I'm just waiting for the barbecue to finish heating up so I can put the burgers on, cook them up. Nice, delicious. Just a few things to talk about for barbecue fire safety. You want to make sure that your barbecue is at least 3 feet away from anything combustible. So don't have it too close to a wooden fence or close to your house or anything like that. At least 3 feet away from combustibles. You want to make sure the barbecue itself is on a non-combustible surface. So right here we're on a a concrete sidewalk, that's fine. But you don't want to have it on like a wooden deck or anything like that. You can actually get non-combustible mats that they can sit on. Those are not bad, but you want to make sure that the barbecue is away from things that can catch on fire. You want to make sure that you clean the grease trap on the barbecue on a regular basis to prevent that from becoming an issue. When you're using the barbecue, when you're done using the barbecue, rather, I should say, make sure that you turn off the propane or the gas before you turn off the burners. That just allows the excess gas to burn off so there's nothing stuck in the lines, and then turn off the burners from there. And then finally, if there is a fire on the barbecue, if you can safely do so, close the lid, turn off the gas, and it should burn out. Call the fire department. Don't try to put water on a barbecue fire. If you have a fire extinguisher, you can try it, but realistically, we prefer you just shut the lid, turn off the gas, and call us. That's what we do. We put out fires. We just want you to be safe. So I think it's warm enough here now. It's heated up. I'm gonna go get the burgers and cook these bad boys up. All right, got the burgers. Gonna put them on the old Barbie and cook these things up for the guys when they get back from. They're actually at a fire call right now, and I'm hoping to have some of these burgers done up for when they get back. All right, so I got the barbecue going. I got the burgers cooking. One thing that I have just discovered that I didn't think about earlier, you want to see this burger right here. Yeah, I definitely messed up the Doritos to meat ratio, and the Doritos are preventing the burger from sticking together the way that it should. So you're just going to want to make sure, let me see if I can see me. Yeah, you're just going to make sure that you get a good distribution of the Doritos throughout the meat so that doesn't happen. I'm hoping that we can salvage that burger, but not feeling overly optimistic. I'd like to just have a moment of silence for this this burger that did not make it. Yeah, the ratio is just way too messed up, and it's not gonna last. But while I've got the camera turned on, I should also mention the fact that in Welland, you're not permitted to have barbecues on balconies in multi-unit residential buildings. So we get that question a lot. Am I allowed to have a barbecue? Is my neighbor allowed to have a barbecue on their balcony? Unfortunately, the answer is no. We're gonna finish eating these, cooking these burgers, and should be just a couple minutes and we'll be able to taste the deliciousness that is the jalapeno cheddar burger. All right, so moment of truth. Let's give this animal a try. I don't hate that. That's actually pretty good. I'm a pretty picky eater, and that's pretty fantastic. So I'm gonna call this a win, and we'll find out what the firefighters think when they get back from their call. All right, so we got Chief Fire Prevention Officer Tanya Carollo. She's gonna sample the burger and give us her honest feedback. All right, honestly, pretty good. Thus concludes another exciting episode of Cooking with Fire. Prevention Officer Michael Atkins with me, Fire Prevention Officer Michael Atkins. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to hit like and or share. And also don't forget that this is Fire Prevention Week and cooking safety starts with you. So pay attention to fire prevention. Yeah!